everyone. Welcome to episode 2. What do we call
Oh, we have a
Carly?
name. We
We
have a
have a name.
name.
We pulled rank.
Um, Forests and Freedom.
Forest and freedom. So focus on the forest, but a little bit beyond.
Yeah.
So pretty happy with that. And Carly's been working on a logo. Hopefully we'll see that pretty soon.
I think people are gonna see my real personality when you see the logo because I it's it's my logo.
Yeah. Anyone who's
But
a metalhead's gonna like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But don't get offended by it. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
me. It's my personality. It's skulls, but I have skulls everywhere throughout my house. So
Yeah.
I just love skulls. I don't know
I
why.
normally have skulls with like antlers and stuff.
Yeah. So, well,
Yeah.
he's got animal skulls and I've got human skulls. So,
Yeah.
and
Either way, lots of death.
I actually use them like when my when niece and nephew like come over and they misbehave and I'm like, how many skulls? I get them to count them. And I'm like, those those are the children that misbehaved in my house. I'm nasty. See, this is why I'm not having kids because I shouldn't.
No, I think you should have. They'll be well-behaved ones at least.
Yeah, well, and a big thank you to Four Wheel Drive TV and Simon Christie for coming up with that name. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's it.
Yeah. I was the same. So you got to pull rank on this one.
I had to pull rank. Yep. We did the poll, and everyone like thanks for voting, guys. But yeah, I'm pulling rank.
Yeah. Look, and that's still helpful because it gave us a lot of an idea what people liked.
Mm.
I think my thing with a lot of those names is they were really long.
Yeah. I love the fact that we can just make that like the FF podcast.
Yeah.
Like it's so short and let's just short and sharp. I like it.
Yeah, FF stands for something, doesn't it? Is that?
Oh, I hope it's not anti-Semitic or something. Can you please explain, Tim? Before we go any further, can you please explain your hair?
Okay, all right. Well, I just thought because you were doing that sort of metalhead looking logo, all right. So the great thing, so we've done one episode, right? And in that one episode, we have already had an impact, and I want to prove the point. But I said I've done my hair all really nice and neat because Topher had stopped doing so. Topher Field does political podcasts, and he'd stopped doing his hair neat. He's sort of doing this scruffy hair, looked a bit like Bob Ross or something. But and so I said, no, I'm going to do my hair neat to try and encourage him to do his hair properly again. You know, his hair's his brand. And then the next podcast he does with the Oddcast with Carly. SodaStream, a different Carly. He's got his hair all nice and neat again. I'm thinking, wow, we're already having an impact. So I want to see how I can push this. So, I tried to, it's sort of falling apart. I tried to do kind of like devil horns and stuff and look a bit more mental. And if that works, if I get him to do his hair like that, I'm going to really push it. The Greens will love us. We'll probably get them signing up with us. I'm going to wear that on a podcast.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Right. And I might save it if we do an interview with someone from One Nation or someone really conservative. That's when I'm.
Oh, I can see this is not going to end well. This is going to be, well, it'll be entertaining at least.
Truth be told, Topher will probably never see this. The challenge won't be met, or he will see it and he'll chicken out because that guy is a punce. Right now.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Let's go.
Yeah.
He can't even grow a beard.
Aww.
Yeah. Have you seen him? He's smooth like a baby girl.
Aww. That's sad. It's cute, but sad.
All right, let's not pick on Topher too much. That guy is too intellectual for me to get in a debate with.
Oh, 100%. Like, he would just bury me.
Be good. We'd learn a lot.
Oh, 100%.
So that's what the hair is about. I like having a little bit of fun. It's serious conversations that we're having, but if you're not having fun, you're not going to win. You're not going to keep up steam. So
And Tim's always saying to me that if I'm not having fun, I don't do it. So he's also making it fun for me because I do get overwhelmed and I do get stressed and I do get down and I get all of those different emotions going on all at once. And I went to Tim and he's like, you need to start having fun again because that's
That's how we
that's what
win.
that's our brand and it's just how we do it. So yeah, he's like my little cheer up champion.
Very good. I've never been. I'm normally a pretty bit of a downer. Sort of go to the parties and sit in the corner and
I do
think
that too, but I
years
just don't
too
go.
late and can't wait to go home. Yeah.
I don't turn up.
I'm married. Sometimes I've got to do things I don't want to do.
Back to it.
So, all right. So, just in case people missed the first episode, I did a little bit of an introduction about who I am. I'm going to expand a little bit more on that because I think most people know who Carly is.
Oh, who the hell is Carly?
Yeah, but who's this guy with a voice for silent television and a face for radio doing with Carly and what's he about? So it's like I said last time, I've been sort of behind the scenes helping Carly and trying to get her to have fun and stay in the fight. And the thing I wanted to talk about today is to go back into my past a little bit because I've been getting accused a lot of being sort of anti-Bush, what's the word I'm looking for here, Carly?
Nature haters.
Yeah, we're nature haters, right? So here's a bit about my past. Now, I did a video on the page a while back where I showed a park where I used to actually go and just clean up just off my own bat. I always had this milk crate, which was stolen off some milk company on the front of my bike. And normally when I'd come home, well, that's every kid had these milk crates on their bikes, right? We used to do the paper round. We'd flog the milk crate from the milk bar.
Don't call the cops, guys.
I think it's too far in the past, and
Okay.
I'll be wrong. So,
It's
anyways,
safe.
every kid back then, if you need to carry stuff in your bike, you probably zip tied a milk crate on it or something similar. And so yeah, normally I'd be coming home from that park and I'd have a little bit of rubbish because people would, there's always someone littering. And when I went there the other day to show my son this, man, my old stomping grounds, there was just litter. The place was trash. And this is in the suburbs. This is where the greenies are. Your green voters and your teal lovers and your environmentalists. But this is their backyard now. I'm not there anymore. This is their backyard. That's a mess. So, that was what I was raised like. If you like an area, if you like the bush, you look after it. And growing up in the suburbs, it sucks because I don't know who wants to be in the suburbs. But the other thing I used to do is on my weekends I'd go into Blackburn. I can't remember how many acres it is. Probably about somewhere between 5 and 10 acres. Right, it's a pretty big ballpark, but it was a decent size, and that was all planted out native bush and stuff like that. There was blue tongues living there and all sorts of native birds. And when all the other kids were playing there, or probably would have been Nintendo 64 might have been coming out then. When they were all playing their Nintendo 64, I was out planting trees, looking at the wildlife that was coming into this little patch. That was my little bit of bush in the suburbs. And it was public. It was open to the public and everything. There was a trust that would look after it. And then in my later years, I helped out. I won't mention the wildlife shelter because I feel like after them. But after the Black Saturday fires, up until 2012 when I got married, and even a little bit afterwards, I helped out at a wildlife shelter. We're looking after wombats and all sorts of things. A lot of birds of prey because that's something they specialised in. So anyone who knows about the wildlife shelters in the area will probably pick up who it was now. And yeah, no, I've always been an environmentalist in the sensible sense that there needs to be a good balance between these things. I also enjoy hunting, right? But you're not gonna catch me out there hunting. Actually, I have shot a kangaroo, but that's a different conversation. You're not going to catch me out there shooting native wildlife. The exception to that is to have come across kangaroos with broken legs or something like that, been hit by cars and
Mercy
just
kills.
to make sure someone doesn't go, oh no, you actually did. So
Yeah.
with the exception of Mercy, I'm not running around doing that sort of stuff. And most hunters don't. Most hunters I talk to, they love the native bush. They love the native animals. I don't know how many hunters, you go through their photos, and yeah, you got the photos of them with with the deer antlers and stuff like that. You've also got just the photos they've taken while they're waiting of a koala or wallabies, or, so I think majority of bush users are there because they love it and they take care of it and they understand the balance and all that stuff. And the same goes for a lot of the forestry guys. Got one that lives across the road from me, does the tree planting and things like that. He loves our native bush. He works for forestries, he used to, and the logging industry and stuff. So when these people want to come along and they say, oh, we're nature haters and all this stuff, I just want to say one other thing. I used to be a snake catcher. I would risk my life so that a snake didn't get its head chopped off with a shovel. Yes, I made a bit of money doing it, but I would risk my life so that snake could go out and live in the bush somewhere where it belongs, not at someone's house. Now, I know a lot of people, oh, bloody snakes. They have their place. They're an important part of the ecosystem. So don't come at me saying I'm a nature hater. Piss off and come up with a proper argument. Then come back. So there we are. Like finally swore on our podcast, episode 2, right at the start.
I like it. I'm all for
it. I'll try not to swear too much.
Oh well, you know what I'm like, but it is so offensive to see like people saying things like that, and being called rednecks, and we're not allowed to go and help out wildlife shelters because we're rednecks and we're bogans and we're nature haters. Like, it's disgusting. It really makes me sick.
And it's so common from the left side, particularly of politics. Like, yes, the right sort of go, oh, you're all communists, which isn't necessarily true, but often is. Or there's some kind of socialist, but you see this like, and everyone has different opinions about this. Not arguing about it, but I was with the Libertarian Party. Now, the Libertarian Party philosophy is bodily autonomy and things like that. So when the vaccine mandates came out for the COVID stuff, we get called anti-vaxxers. All we were saying is that people have the right to have the choice. If someone is an anti-vaxxer, then they should have the right to still be able to have their job and not have to portray their own opinions on things like that. You see it's like a science denier. If you go, oh, I'm not so sure about climate change, some of it doesn't kind of add up. Well, all of a sudden you're a science denier. It's like, well, I don't know. I thought science was actually sort of a conversation and pushing ideas against each other, But anyway,
science is literally people coming in and debating your science. If you go by just what one person's saying, which is what's happening in the environmental movement in Victoria at the moment.
Even if 100% of the scientists, bar one guy, agrees on an issue, that doesn't mean that issue is actually right. The one guy might actually be right, and that's happened in history.
Germ theory.
Sorry?
Germ theory.
Germ theory. Well, even before that, it wasn't even germ theory. I can't remember the name of the guy. Topher talks about him a bit. But he was just saying, look, before we go from the morgue to help women give birth.
That's germ theory. That's what I'm talking about.
But he didn't have the theory of germs.
No, and he got locked up.
Yeah.
And for telling medical people to wash their hands between going to the morgue and helping to birth a baby.
Yeah. And he didn't know why. All he knew that is if they washed their hands, the results were better.
The deaths went down from 80% to 20% or something.
Yeah, that's something like that. That was exactly what I was about to say. So yeah, it's close to that.
And he was thrown in jail for it.
Well, he went into psych ward, I think, in the end, and
yeah.
And ironically died of an infection.
Yep.
From the terrible way he was treated. So,
but we don't learn from history. This is the thing.
Well, no, I mean, I think this is why I actually kind of like the Oddcast that Topher and Carly do, because they both like talking about history. There's someone else that comes to mind who's the other one, to do it again, is in New South Wales is John Ruddick. He likes talking a lot about history. He's a history guy, so he's in the New South Wales Parliament there, and he's an ally of people being able to be outdoors. He's a freedom guy. So that whole, you're just nature haters and all, it's just this cut off the conversation. They have no argument. They're pathetic, weak-minded fools. They've got nothing, and so all they can do is try to put you in this box that we don't fit in, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
We're in nature because we love it, idiots.
We're the ones that live out here. Yeah.
So anyway, there we are getting.
Yeah, it's infuriating. It really is. And they're so stuck in their echo chambers. You try and say something to them, and they all of a sudden they're calling you like a racist or something like that, totally unrelated.
Well, that's another example.
Where did that come from?
So I was on the one of the Eildon Facebook pages, and someone called a guy on there a racist because he was saying that we shouldn't be saying that land's only available to certain Australian people, the Aboriginal people, and he's saying that it's our land, that everyone should be welcome. And then they said, oh well, I'm sick of this page with all the racism on it. I said, so, and hear me out here. If racism now means that you think people should be treated the same regardless of their skin color or family history, or if that makes you a racist because you think people should just be treated as individuals, as people, according to, I don't know, say the content of their character or something crazy like that, well, then maybe I'm a racist. I don't know. The English language changes. So
the fact that people who are who want to just have us all as one are now being called white nationalists. The fact that that's happening in this country is insane, because all we want is for everyone to be treated the same. At the moment, it's we're being demonized for being white in some senses, and it's like this is such a huge conversation. I'm not going to get into this too much, but all we want is just equality amongst everyone. And if you start playing the victim, and this is what our government does, they push into our brains and into these minority groups that they are victims.
Yeah.
They're being treated unequally, that they're they're so hard done by and everything. So we need to protect them. And so we have to protect them and everything like that. And it just plays into people's, victim theory. They start thinking that they are victims, but where does that? There's facts, there's feelings.
Yeah. All right. So, Australian Ben Shapiro has spoken.
I have been watching a bit of what's his name? Charlie Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
Did that just come out?
Yeah, it might have, yeah. Well, you could certainly do worse than watching Charlie Kirk. So that's just a common thing, guys. So when these people are throwing these silly insults at you that just don't make any sense, you can get a little bit angry like I do, or you can laugh in their face like I sometimes do, or do a bit of both, laugh angry.
Yeah. I do a bit of both. I make videos about them and and laugh at them and call them idiots.
Yeah. And look, I mean, if you're going to talk about people I hate, the people I hate are the people that know what they're doing is destroying this country, and they're fighting to do it anyway.
And that's our politicians.
Yeah, and
higher up ones
that support them. But like most of the Green voters, I don't hate them.
Oh,
I think they're either misinformed, ill-informed.
Dude.
But I don't actually.
Do you know what's going on? I was in this Facebook group for females my age, right? It
Yeah.
was like a virtual hangout type of thing. And because of the election coming up, they're starting to put up posts about, we can't have more, we can't let Dutton in because he's going to do this, this, and this. So I got on there and I just kind of said, they were wanting to know what their candidates in their area were about. So I kind of just said there was a Libertarian candidate, there was a Greens, um, there was a Liberal, and I think there was something else. And I just said basically what they are. If you're leaning to the right, go with your libertarians. If you lean to the left, um, and these people, these women, oh my God! Because I said about the Greens, I said if you want. If you, what did I say? If you want a communist society that's slowly destroyed by a political party, vote for the Greens. And oh my God, they attacked the crap out of me. They were like, how could you say that? The Greens are the only ones that are sticking up for this country and all this. And I'm like, oh my God. And there was that many that I'm like, I'm not even trying to educate you people because you people are just whack jobs.
Yeah.
And then they start going on about the abortion stuff and everything. And I'm like, nobody's trying to stop having abortions, love. Like, people need to start really getting involved in politics because
I don't even care if you're wrong. At least understand, and have an opinion instead of just going, "Oh, I think these guys are good."
Not listening to what Labor's throwing all over Facebook and social media. Oh, we're gonna fund every public school, and then I'm throwing up all the pictures of that school that's closing because it has no funding in Victoria. Like, they're we're saving you money on household batteries and everything. They're not saving you money. They are just they're either using your tax dollars that you already pay to subsidize things, or you're going to be paying for that on your electricity bill for someone who earns six figures to be subsidized to have a battery for their home when people like us can't even afford to buy a house.
Yeah.
That makes me sick.
So Topher did a video on this, as you would know. So guys, Topher Field, YouTube, find him. He's great to understand.
What's going on?
Yeah, sort of the hidden behind the scenes stuff that happens in politics that you don't pick up on. And he points out, so with these battery things, because there's too many solar panels and it destabilizes the grid. They want to have these batteries, right? And so the go is they said, oh, they're not going to subsidize them. So that means that in order to pay for all that infrastructure and for the, so the idea is actually that they end up just getting a cheaper electricity bill, or they get to sell that electricity, but they sell it at an inflated price.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens then? So if I've got a lazy, I don't know what the exact number is, but let's say it's $10,000. So if I'm one of those people in society that goes, hey, you know what? 10 grand, no big deal. Let's do one of these battery things, and then we'll have even cheaper power. Well, the person paying for my power to be cheaper because it's at that inflated price is Carly, who's, renting a house, doesn't have a lazy 10 grand. And by the way, I don't have a lazy 10 grand.
If I did have a lazy 10 grand, it'd be going to a deposit for a house.
Yeah. So that's what's actually happening. And so Labor says, oh, we're all about the poor. The Teals are behind this. Helen
Haines. Oh, I brought this bill into Parliament. Thanks for that.
Well, thanks. Thank you for supporting the rich. Let's prove who you really are. Thank you for supporting the rich at the expense of the poor. Make the like poor subsidise the rich. Thank you very much. Piss off. Get out of Parliament. We don't need idiots like you in our politics.
And where's all that subsidy money going when it's all going back up to the billionaires? It's all going back to Simon Holmes Court, and Climate 200. So why these Teals? So if you see that an independent, and I'm still telling people this because people can't, I don't know, they're either not seeing it or they're not taking it in. But if an independent is funded and they have to put their donations on their website, so all you have to do is go and have a look. If they have got Climate 200 donations on there, there's also there's a couple of other ones that I won't mention because I haven't looked into them properly yet. But if they have Climate 200 in their donations list, they are backed by Simon Holmes à Court, who has made millions from renewable energy. And I was actually just watching a Four Corners thing the other day about Snowy Hydro, and he was 2017. He was talking about renewables, about how he's a renewables investor and everything, and and people have just been blinded by the fact that this is a businessman pushing people by giving them money to get them into Parliament to push his renewables so that he'll make money.
And it's quite ironic because those same people will make that exact same accusation, and they mightn't be wrong, but they make that exact same accusation against Clive Palmer.
Oh.
Right, but they're doing the same thing. So they're hypocrites.
Oh, they're worse than hypocrites.
And it's probably even worse. I mean, I haven't looked into Clive Palmer's finances and how much he gets from the government. There would be some. But, and I think I said this last time, Simon Hart, he makes his money off government subsidies. That's where he's making his big money. So our government pays him, then he spends that money on helping campaign or funding campaigns for these teals and the orange, what I call the orange teals, which is Helen Haynes, and that there's another one or two
Alex
that don't
Dyson.
use the teal colour. Sorry?
Alec Dyson.
Yeah.
He's one to watch. He's got so much money from them.
Yeah. So now our money that the government keeps giving these people is being spent to campaign for their own interests.
And stuff we don't even want.
So that the government can give them more money.
Yeah. And stuff that's ripping up our farmland. It's destroying our national parks. Like you saw Kosciuszko. Like, oh my God. This is destroying our country.
Thank you, environmentalists.
Yeah. No, green energy. I'm so hey, how's Seven Spotlight calling out EVs? What's that about?
I think that's preparing to go after Elon Musk a little bit.
I think it's an Elon Musk dig, but I think it's got higher. I don't think they've looked into the implications that they've done there, because I'm seeing people everywhere commenting now on anything green.
Yeah.
Green, and saying, where did that actually come from? Like they've started they've woken people up a little bit to the green dream. And I don't know whether 7 News was allowed to do that, mainstream media. I
think they're desperately trying to be relevant. So on your YouTube media or podcast media, people have been talking about this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably really before 2020, I remember people talking about these issues with electric cars and how environmentally damaging they are.
Yeah, and everyone's houses burning down.
Slave labour and childhood labour and all this sort of stuff. And so I think they're just realising that they have to be relevant, and they're losing their relevance, right? YouTube is taking over. Topherfield's growing, they're shrinking.
All I watch is YouTube. But I actually watched Four Corners of YouTube, and I watched I just live off YouTube. But the thing is, like, that reporter, is it Liam? What's his last name?
I'm not too sure.
Whatever. Good on him for doing that. For going and investigating that. Good on 7 News for actually putting that out there. Even if it was, a dig at Elon Musk, who cares? You're getting the truth out there.
I'll tell you what, here's a challenge now. I like challenging Topher. Let's go after 7 News. You've done the electric cars. Now go have a look at the environmental damage. Put that on mainstream media of the wind turbines. Right?
And solar panels.
Solar panels as well. But the wind turbines is easy. It is easy. Get a drone, fly it. Right? There's your problem. Easy to see. You don't even have to say anything.
All the dead birds and bats on the ground.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. So there's
We're
the next
waiting.
challenge. Prove that
We're
it's not just
waiting.
about Elon. Prove that you're actual journalists that give
Yep.
us. Yeah,
Yep. I don't think we're going. I think we're going to be holding out for a while on that one. But
yeah.
um,
I know. I don't think us and our whole 20 followers or something are going to
hey,
be.
we had 200 views on our first episode.
Oh, well, there we go. Well, so I'm going to take two of them for me, and the rest would probably be there for you.
No,
Um,
no.
right, we have completely lost track of time, and we've
Yeah,
just gone
yeah.
on rants, which is good. Just means we're having fun. So all right. So we're talking about the teals and the greens and all that. We did mention in there that they got numbers behind them. So at polling booths and doing all the leaflet drops and stuff, they have supporters. And I understand, guys, the Teals get it because most of their big supporters are retired women.
Have you noticed who they are though? They're and the demographic of them, right? If you put them right next to these environmentalist groups that are pushing all this crap, with the Central Highlands and everything, for example, they are the same age range, the
Yep.
same everything demographic wise. I'm even the video that I saw of Joel from our team, that his mum going the Teal candidate down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I swear I've seen that bloke in one of the friends of groups
Oh,
for the forest.
the larger bloke who comes and talks.
Yes.
Yeah. He looks very familiar, doesn't he?
I swear to
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I think he's probably one like me who's kind of behind the scenes doing things, and so you're not too sure who he is. But
I swear
anyway,
it's like a cult.
I'm out here now, so
Like a cult.
yeah. So you got that. So they've got lots of time, and that means like we've got jobs and all these, like we have actual lives that we live. And then on the Green Party side of thing, yes, you have some of that demographic, but that's mostly younger voters.
Mm-hmm.
And the young students, socialists, or just people that, well, once again, I mean, they're not out doing anything. They're not actually picking up rubbish out of their own parks in their own area. They're sitting at home.
They're the people. If you watched any of Billboard Chris's debates in Melbourne, they're those people that are crying about somebody saying that there shouldn't be puberty blockers given to children.
Yeah, so these are people which sadly, obviously, don't have much going on in their life. So they get behind the Greens Party and they are there and they volunteer. I remember doing a campaign where I kept seeing every day me and this guy from the Socialist Party, which is a similar demographic. And I mean, we were at each other every day. On the last day polling, it actually nearly exploded when he brought my kids into the conversation. I was,
dog.
But let's just say there was actually a volunteer from the Freedom Party put his hand on my shoulder as he saw me take that step forward. Nice older guy with a beard. Hopefully he watches this, and he probably rescued that socialist and stopped me from going to prison. He just put his hand on my shoulder and he goes, "Aren't you due to go have a smoke?" I got the hint straight away. I'm like, yep. Thank you for calming me down. I'm going to go do that. So,
damn it! And we could have had some free entertainment there. You would have made the news.
Oh, probably not. Who cares about a libertarian and a socialist fighting? That's standard.
I do. I'd pay for that.
Yeah. Just I'll tolerate a lot. Bring my children into it.
No.
Bad idea.
Dog act.
Yeah. So anyway, we won't get onto that too much. I don't want people getting the wrong idea about me.
Yeah. No, the thing with the like people that are volunteering with the Greens, right? They're the ones that are out there every weekend, every Sunday, spending their entire day marching through the streets of Melbourne, holding Free Palestine flags.
Yeah.
Do you think they've got a lot going on in their lives?
No. No, and they're looking for something to belong to. It's actually quite sad. I do
Hmm.
know people are going to give me crap. I do actually feel sorry for them, particularly the younger ones
Did you
that
see the ones
haven't been offered much in life.
did you see in the US how they went and started talking to some of the people that are apparently protesting against Trump, and they went and spoke to this guy, and he didn't even know why he was there. He was just there because there was people there.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's quite common. Quite often, you see people trying to interview them, like, "What are we doing? What's about? What do you think the solutions are?" I got no idea. Like,
He was, I think, he was saying that Trump was a fascist or something like that. He didn't even know what fascist meant,
no,
and they're like, "Well, why are you here?" And he's like, "Oh, well, there was just people. People came. There was people everywhere, and I was lonely."
I mean we're laughing, but it's
Oh,
it's
it's
really sad.
horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean we got to laugh at this stuff. There
If you
is
don't
humor.
laugh, you'll cry. That's what
Yeah,
I live by. If you don't laugh, you cry. So if I laugh at something I shouldn't be laughing at, it's
and
because it's a mental system that I have worked in there to make me okay.
it's also fair. These are the people that come after us and say horrible, stupid things, and so the idea that we get to laugh at them for being frankly pathetic, well, sorry, that's just life. But
Yep.
my point here is those teals, the major parties obviously, but the teals and the greens, they do well. They've got about a similar percentage of the vote that our side of politics would have. But they do well because they've got the volunteers. So, guys, I know everyone's busy. I know we have lives. I know that on election weekend, you'd rather be out in the bush. But if you want to keep that bush open, if you want to, if you want to support uh, candidates and parties that put Australia and Australians before all this globalist type stuff,
Mhm.
you need to sacrifice a day or some hours,
Mm.
um, and we need to be a part of the campaign. I mentioned that last time, but that's my push. And I'm going to say, if you don't, when everything starts turning into crap, don't come bitching to me about politics. I don't want to hear it if you weren't a
Yep.
part of the fight.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to be punching on the people down at the polling booths on election day.
Not,
Joking.
not good, Carly. Not good.
Joking, clearly satire. But
Yeah,
I'm going to be donating my time, my little amount of time that I have between everything else that we've got going on to try and get good people in Parliament.
yeah,
It's that easy.
yeah. So I'll make some days for pre-poll. I'll make probably the whole day as I normally do on actual election day.
Mhm.
I'll travel. Oh, actually, that's something else I'll talk about. So normally for me, I try to travel to one of the bigger towns in my area because that's where I'm going to have the most impact for my work for my effort. Now, I understand if you live in an area, particularly in a small town, you don't want to go into your town and do how to vote cards there
Mhm.
because you don't want to sort of be recognised and have people.
Might piss off your neighbour.
Look, yeah, my experience is people don't mind. I even did campaigned and helped for the no vote in the voice referendum thing, and I did that right in Alex where I live. Um, and I thought for me that was something I wanted to do that at home instead of traveling somewhere else. And because there was a lot of volunteers, every other polling booth had someone. Alex had nobody except for me, and there was a guy from the Liberal Party who gave me a break for lunch and things like that.
Aww.
So, to me, oh, and actually there was another couple that came from Eildon. I forgot about them because I saw them, I think, the night before, and then they ended up travelling down. So we're able to cover both sides of the polling booth. So, so it actually worked out really well. But you can travel. You don't have to do how to vote cards. I mean, you don't even have to be in your own state. So if you're on holidays,
Might get a holiday.
yeah, if you're on holidays and you're in New South Wales or something like that, I know it sucks doing this stuff on holidays, but you could still make an hour or 2 hours because if someone else is there all day and you can give them a break for an hour or two so they can go get off their feet for a little bit, have a proper
Have a
drink and a
cigarette.
meal to be refueled for the last half of the day. it means the world to them. I've done days where I've not had breaks.
And then you nearly punched on with a socialist.
Well, yes. And so yeah, it doesn't help with that. And also, like, your back just aches and you sort of lose the enthusiasm. So you start off the day and people listen to you and you're sort of happy, and then by the afternoon it's like, hey, you want one of these?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have the same impact. So
Yeah.
So guys, I know it's hard and I know that people are nervous about it. It's if you get involved with these parties, they'll do generally Zoom calls and little training sessions. It's really not hard. You just smile and say, hey, have you considered, whatever the party is you're volunteering for, and you have a few of their policies in your mind that you basically understand, so you can say this is what we're about. Most people don't ask much. I think I've been doing it for a few years now. I think I've had 2 or 3 people in all that time actually want to have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
So,
and we weren't going to mention this, but I will just put on the record that Tim and I have actually we're going to organise a day in the group and on the page to basically educate voters, about who's going to be good for us and who's we need to be backing and voting for and everything. So we're going to do a bit of an interactive live together where you can actually get on there and ask us questions in real time and we'll answer them. And we're going to try and get somebody else on here with us. I won't mention his name, but if he can, that would be amazing. And we'll also be doing like just posts throughout the day of just basic election
videos we've already
stuff.
shown, how to vote videos, how to make
the marbles video, what preferential voting is, those types of things. So we're going to be hitting the political button pretty soon.
Well, on that, I think we have been going for a while. I do have a couple of other conversations here. One of them's going to be a really long one, I think. The cost of living in parks. Do we want to leave that for another?
I think we should probably leave.
Yes. So you can look forward to whatever that conversation is.
Yeah. That's going to be an angry one.
Let's talk very quickly about the email campaign for the...
the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund levy. And so we ended up putting together a very successful short notice campaign about this. We had people emailing like crazy. I spoke to Ricky Lee from One Nation, and I spoke to her assistant, and I left her off the email list that I gave everyone to copy and paste.
You told people not to bother because she's already... So her and David Limbrick, leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Don't bombard them because they're already on our side. Yeah. She got 400 emails from us. I was like, I'm so sorry. But imagine what everyone else would have got. So at the end of the night, we only had really like 24 hours really to bang all these emails out after we got onto the mayor of Mansfield. And by that night, I was having people messaging me saying they're all bouncing back, Carly. They, basically that means their inboxes are full most of the time. That's what it means. So, that was a bit of a success and a bit of a win there. But they didn't have the votes, and there's a bit of a yucky situation going on there with the Greens because they thought they had the Greens in the upper house ready to vote and to pass it, and they didn't. So it's been tabled, and we've got another 5 weeks now. What?
Can I risk everyone hating me for a minute?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. There has been times in recent years in politics, both federally and at state, where the Greens have actually been the saving grace. And that speaks volumes.
Hey, the mis and disinformation bill.
Yeah.
When Sarah Hanson-Young is up there debating the crap out of a bill and saying how bad it is, If Sarah Hanson-Young is doing that, it's a bad bill.
Well,
It's
either
a
that or
bad
it's a
bill.
really good bill. It could be either way. But if she's teamed up with, someone like, say, Gerard Rennick or something like that, and they
If
might
they're
be
on the same
arguing for
side,
different reasons, but they're still arguing that this bill's bad. That is a bad bill.
that's emergency sirens going. Woo!
Yeah. So, the Greens aren't always our enemy, and I think that bears remembering. I don't know what the answer to that is, though. They're
No, well,
typically,
the thing is, when you email them, if you direct your point of view on what you're saying, so they're all about, cost of living and affordable housing and not having people. They want people to have fair rent and everything like that. So the way that we went the Greens, that we needed to get the crossbench to vote against this, was to say, hey, this is going to impact renters also, because this is also increasing the levy on everyday houses and everyday landlords. So
yep.
people's rents are going to go up when you're, campaigning about pushing rents down and making rents cheaper and housing being affordable and everything socialist like that. they're if you start aiming that at their and making them look like hypocrites if they do actually vote for this, but they're not worried about looking like hypocrites though. So it's a bit
Well,
of a give and take.
yeah,
Hey, they
not,
sold out their own people in this hate speech law
yeah,
after
in Victoria.
we were told that anyone saying, from the river to the sea, all that sort of stuff, it could be targeted by.
Well, that's the original purpose of that bill.
And they voted on it. They voted against that. They voted to put their people in jail, basically, for saying things in protest.
And then when that starts happening, they'll campaign on that and say, "This is why we need more Greens in government, because look what the government's doing to the
But
protesting."
they voted for it.
So the politicians win twice. Even the people that vote for them lose. Stop voting for Greens. Even if you think the Greens are environmentalists,
Oh,
they're not. But look, there just has been times where they have been better than both Liberal and Labor in some cases.
that's not hard.
Look, it's not. But I do also want to say, in Victoria, Liberal Party, thank you. You
Yeah.
guys, I'm not saying I love yous. I'm
Nah.
not, but as I watch the Liberal parties in different states and federally, there seems to be a little bit of a hint of something like a spine coming up in the Liberal Party in Victoria.
Yep.
They stated the other day that they were against the hate speech bill because they support free speech, which the federal guys aren't saying. They're saying they're going to bring out their own hate speech one that they've got, that they didn't like Labor's, but they'll bring out their own.
I'm seeing a major shift in Victorian Liberal and Nats.
Yeah.
But they've been so supportive towards us with this forest fight. So I will always be, have such a high appreciation towards them. But ever since they got rid of Pistutto from leadership, ever since they brought in Brad, I reckon I do see a good shift happening.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that shift probably comes from those who are aware that the whole Moira Deeming thing and how that all panned out. And I think she's sort of given him a steroid injection.
She's doing great things in that parliament. I love it. She gets in there and she's just like, "What are we doing?" Like she doesn't even hold back. I'm like, yes.
Don't always agree with her. Always love her and respect her.
Yeah, exactly.
So do keep an eye out for those good candidates within the Liberal Party when state election and all that comes up. We need to support those guys. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe one day the Liberal Party will actually stand by their values again.
That'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Give us an alternative to Albo,
Well, yeah, to Labor, because federally, very difficult to tell the difference. There isn't much.
There is no difference, not anymore. And
Oh,
that then the debate last night, that just oh, it was sickening. It was absolutely sickening. But I found out that Dado, his dad had a heart attack beforehand, which that's really sad. And he did really, really well for what he was going through at the time to get through what he got through
yeah,
last
so
night.
a bit of a break on that one, but
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
Albo, oh, so how many grandchildren do you have? Like he was asking all these, like he cares. This man does not care about you. Like, and what was with the audience? There's 100 people in there. 8 people get to ask questions. It was very, very telling.
mm. Yeah. Well,
Very telling.
I think to promote TOFA again, we might as well just call this the TOFA promotion podcast. But he did a video about it, and he points out that you really need to watch what they're not talking about, because they're actually the important issues that they're not talking about, that they won't debate. So,
Yep.
and
Whatever they try and guillotine through, especially the Senate,
yeah,
if they try and guillotine anything through, you need to be looking real hard at that, because they're trying to hide what's going through.
yeah,
If they stop debate, and that's what the crossbench. You see, even David Pocock, even he gets so angry about it,
yeah.
and and he's more left leaning than most people, but even that they all see through it. They all see what's going on.
Yeah, actually, I've even seen Helen Ames bring up the Parliament. She doesn't like it when they don't have proper debate. So there's the little bit of credit I'm giving her. That's it. I'll draw the line at that.
Oh, and she carries on about pork barreling.
Well,
Excuse me.
I like pork.
I'm not even going to do it. No.
Um,
I'll sip on my tea.
yeah. So I think we'll probably wrap it up there. There was something else I was going to say that was really important and was probably going to save the whole nation, but I can't remember it now. So,
Well, we're all doomed now. Thanks.
sorry about that. But guys, yeah, get behind your good parties. I'm sorry, you'd need to pay some attention to politics. That was the other thing. I won't save the country, might save the state. After this federal election, very soon after that, we're going to be dealing with the
State.
Sorry.
State.
Yeah, well, with the state, that they'll be bringing up that levy again, the emergency services and levy. Right, dyslexia. I can't put all those words together like that. So don't go going, all right, good, I can have a break from politics now. I'm sorry, politics does not take a break.
No.
You don't always have to be super active, but you do need to be paying attention to know when you need to be super active. So don't shut off the page for a week or something like that and think that we can have that much of a rest. That's actually when they're most likely to try to jam things through that they know is unpopular.
When you're looking the other way.
Yeah, just that they like to do things like around Christmas time and holidays,
Yep.
and straight after a federal election, state governments,
everything that they were holding back,
small windows.
Everything they were holding back that would stop them from getting in federally, they're going to push through really fast after the federal election. So
we might even find that Labor all of a sudden turns around to this whole national parks issue and goes, all right, now we'll run.
Exactly.
So just keep your ear to the ground. That's all I wanted to say.
Yep. No, well, I think I agree. I think you did just save the state.
Yeah, very good. I love saying. That's just how much wisdom I'm full of, So
it's the hair.
I'll have to keep doing my hair like this.
Yeah.
I didn't say it last time because as much as I like to claim to be wise, I am an idiot. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those things. If you're watching on the Facebook page, share and follow those Facebook pages. Thank you for listening to my intolerable voice. And I don't want to pick on you too much, Carly. You cop too much crap, so I've got to pick on myself.
Oh yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
can still pick on me. I'm pretty tough skinned these days.
Sorry that you have to put up with Carly and a weird two-toned hair.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Yeah. All right. So there we
You
go.
idiot. You
We'll leave
idiot.
it on that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you later.